Hey, what's up, everybody? Grove Sessions here on a beautiful Wednesday. My name is Rick Coughlin, CEO and co founder of Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. We are a 24/7 self service rehearsal and creative studio for musicians, DJs, producers, and podcasters. Um, really excited for today's session. First, I want to give you guys some updates and just let you know and a reminder that we started Grove Studios to enable people to create music and share their voices around the world because we believe that creating music and people sharing their voices around the world makes the world a better place. When COVID-19 hit in March, we were forced to shut down for ensuing 3 months. We lost over 3 months of revenue. Many people in our community and specifically the music community have been hit really hard by this because of the pandemic. These shutdowns are ongoing and it has really devastated the music industry. Um, if you want to support independent musicians, music organizations, music venues, I highly recommend that you head over to the NIVA website. That's NIVA, NIVA, and sign the petition. Support NIVA's mission to preserve and nurture the ecosystem of independent live music venues and promoters throughout the United States. It's a critical time if we value music and if we value art. Your voice is important, and so we just encourage you. The website is actually NIVAASSOC.org. We'll post that in the comments. That's NIVA, National Independent Venue Association. Again, you can take action. You can sign a petition to Congress to support independent music venues. Grove Studios is one of those venues, and we're a member of NIVA, and we'd really encourage you guys to do that. Um, in that same vein, we also launched 30 days ago a patronicity campaign. We thought long and hard about whether or not we were going to do that. Patronicity has typically been reserved for nonprofits. We are an LLC and a for-profit business, and so again, hand wringing whether or not we were going to do that campaign. We launched it at the encouragement of some folks in our community and our team members. And I'm really happy and excited to announce that we did reach our goal for that patronicity campaign. We've now raised over $5,000 with a $1,000 match from Credit, Lake State Credit Union, and we're really grateful to the team at Lake State Credit Union. We're really grateful to everybody that donated. I went live last night and thanked everybody so far. I have some more thanking to do. We had a last minute anonymous donation out of Algonac, Michigan, for a really generous amount that set us over the top. If you'd still like to donate, there's nothing on the patronicity campaign that says you can't still donate. And we, of course, would appreciate that. We've got costs that go above and beyond that because of COVID and continuing needs and costs surrounding our ability to keep the studio open, clean, safe, and have plenty of PPE protections for our clients at the studio. But we are open, and people are coming in, and people are recording, and people are creating and making music, and that's it's a beautiful thing. So we're just so grateful. We want to thank everybody for that. If you do still want to donate to the campaign, it's patronicity.com /Grove Studios. One final thing on the studio, we're offering for the rest of July. Our podcast studio is open, free of charge. All you have to do is go to grovestudios.space and you can go to the podcast room, pick your hours and book, and you can start your podcast. I know a lot of people that have been wanting to do that. So we wanted to give people an opportunity to check it out, test out the podcast room, and share your voices with the world. That's enough about my spiel. Once again, I'm here with Max Price, head of social media and marketing for Grove Studios.
What's up, everybody?
Hey. Max is a producer, rapper, and music business consultant. And we always do this podcast together, almost always. Whenever he's not here, I get a little nervous, as you've seen. And I tend to fuck up the technology a lot. That's what happens when I don't have a partner in crime. Super special Grove Sessions today. Very, very honored to bring Uncle P to the show. Um, He's a Detroit entrepreneur, entertainment consultant, DJ, music business mogul. Diara Calazo, aka Uncle P. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. Uh, Please, if you have any questions for Grove Studios, Max or I, or Uncle P, as we're doing this broadcast, we'd love to interact with you and give you shout outs and make this conversational. Just a little background on Uncle P: studied music entertainment management at the Art Institute of Atlanta. He's an entertainment consultant. As I mentioned before, he's a music director at What's Good Detroit. He's the CEO at Mighty John Entertainment, owner at Underground Hip Hop Awards, founder at Urban Ambiance Radio, owner at DetroitRap.com, sound music director at Jacotefilm, and general uplifter of the Detroit hip hop community. And I'm honored to have you on here, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yo, what's good with you? What's good, everybody?
Very, very good. Very good. Really appreciate you taking the time today, man.
Oh man, thanks for having me, man. It's always good to come and chop it up with some good people like yourselves.
Appreciate that.
I really appreciate it, man. I'm just so excited to be sitting down with you, talking with you. I've always seen what you do with the Underground Hip Hop Awards. That was like my first introduction to you, and I love what you do. You know, I'm an aspiring music business entrepreneur myself. So everything that you do is just so inspiring to everyone in the industry, really. So thank you, man, for.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. That's all I know how to do, bro. I just be doing me. I just love uplifting people. I love exposing new talent, talent that I think the world should be into. So I just do my part, man.
Yeah, we love that, and that's what we stand for at Grove Studios too. But in the beginning, let's go way back. If I'm correct, you started as like a DJ, producer, and MC. Like, what came first for you out of those things, and how did music come about in your life?
What came first? Wow. Rapper's Delight, the song. that
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it, man. I can say that I was here at the birth, of hip hop, the first records, to hit it. And I was maybe around anywhere between 7-10 years old. So it was a great time to be in it. What actually got me really wanting to be involved was probably the movie Breaking, Turbo and Ozone. It was a scene. Ice-T was the DJ. And I really thought it was cool to how he controlled everything, was able to set the tone and all that. So I decided I wanted to be a DJ, So I saved up my allowance and got a Radio Shack mixer. Went home and got the little dual cassette with the record player component and hooked it into the mixers, and I just cut out some plastic to get a slip mat so I could scratch, and that there was, man. I was a DJ and used to love to make mixtapes, so that came first, bro. That came first.
That's dope, and that's still, you still love to DJ today. Like, what has kept your passion so big for DJing?
The love of the music, truly the love of the music. And I say that because I turned down a lot of gigs. I turned down a lot of gigs because I don't want to play the music that's required to hold that gig down. And instead of being stubborn and go screw somebody party up, trust me, you DJs out there, it's not because I can't. I
Yeah.
can. I just don't choose to play that music. So, I tend to stay in my lane, and expose new talent, man. And that's what it's been. I wouldn't still be doing this if I was forced a playlist that I had to play all the time, or go in the club and play the same 30 joints like all the time. Like, that doesn't move me. Not saying that music isn't good, but that's not something I could be tied to doing, every
I,
day for work.
I can totally relate to that, and I'm not a DJ, but as a musician in a band, it's the same reason I don't want to do cover gigs. I just I don't feel it. You know what I mean? I'm
Right,
not saying that
right,
those aren't good songs, like top
right,
40. It's good music,
right,
It's the shit that makes people dance. It's what keeps people, you know what I mean, like ordering drinks and whatever else. But yeah, like me, like that, I don't. It does just doesn't move me personally, right?
right.
Yeah,
So totally get that.
I like how you do it, for the love of the music, and that seems to be, a theme throughout your career for sure. Is that, what brought you to studying music entertainment management, in Atlanta? Like, how was that experience?
Well, here it is. I was in a group. I was the DJ, Mystique MDs, and we was getting older. Half the group graduated and was going to college. Another member went on to the military, and it wasn't nobody left but me and Will Black. Black Gypsy Productions. Shout out to my guy on this clothing line. It wasn't nobody
Oh
there
yeah.
but the two of us, and he wasn't so comfortable with just being alone on stage. Like, for the longest, it was three other guys with him. So I stepped behind the turntables. We got another DJ. So then I got on the mic with him and we did some shows. We actually put out cassette tape, some vinyl. Um, and it was there when I got introduced to this business of music. Um, and I really got off into that. And then I got a mentor, my man Ducato Vega, uh, guitarist, bad boy. But he always was on me in business and taking care of business. So uh, we almost got signed to a label down in Miami. And while I was down there, I found out about the Art Institute of Florida,
Hmm.
or Miami. And I was like, wow, they got a music school, for stuff like that. So I went and visited the school, came back home. And then 3 years later, music was kind of stagnant. And I said I needed to do something to get us up out of here. So that's when I looked for the school and I noticed they had one in Atlanta. And that's when Atlanta was really starting to pop. And I said,
Hmm.
that's where I need to be. So I left here, went down there to school. So that's pretty much, man. We were hitting a bit brick wall as far as our artistry. And I needed to understand more. And honestly, what happened was I think I got too smart for my own good, because we got into some other situations with labels, and I always ended up talking us up out of them. So
Hmm.
I
What
want
was
too
it?
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know your worth,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and who knows? Like, if you would have gotten one of those deals, you could have got screwed. So,
Right. Oh yeah, I would have gotten screwed. Shout out to Professor Griff, who's in the middle of a situation right now with that Nick Cannon stuff. But
mm,
um, while we was in Florida, man, Griff pulled me to the side with me and the other two people that was there, and really schooled me on the back end of this business and pointed out some things. And I went back to the meeting the next day and said what I said and got put back on a plane back to Detroit the next day.
Yeah, I mean, you it's good you follow that advice because there's a long trail of disastrous things when people jumped at the, oh, the money or whatever it was. It
Oh
sounds like
yeah,
you always stuck true to your, yourself and what I mean. Was gut instinct in some ways a part of those decisions that you made too? Could you say
gut.
that?
Oh yeah, definitely gut instinct and getting down there in the face of people to see what really was going on. Like I had heard stories, but I saw stuff with my own eyes and I was like, wow. So I was kind of on the fence anyway because what that label portrayed, although it was our type of music and what we was doing, the underground stuff was just it's not something I would have wanted my career to be
Mm-hmm.
caught up
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. I mean, I had like similar experiences of almost getting signed like when I was at Dime, and then just turned out like it more was revealed and it turned out that it was better that I didn't, and I mean before I like went to school and learned about the music, like you just don't even understand like how it works or what goes on. And then when I actually got my bachelor's degree and learned like, oh no, this eight label will like own you and like you have to do everything that they say, and you better make sure everything's in the contract or they'll just do whatever they want. Like once
Yeah.
I learned like all those things, like, oh well, maybe signing a deal isn't the ultimate success of the music industry. What do you think like artists nowadays, because I know even like now the music industry is totally different even just in this past year, but what do you think artists should be looking out for, if labels are approaching them with contracts or managers or production?
Um, man, here's the thing: distribution. You know, people's running around for 10 years. I'm distributed by so and so. I'm distributed by so and so. Is that all you have? All you have is a distribution deal. Do you have a marketing budget? Do you have an advertising budget? Do you have any type of budget to help get yourself back then off the shelves?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's to encourage somebody, to listen. So it man, it's just crazy out here, bro. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Yeah, and making sure they had like, I think people don't realize like the contract is not just what the artist has to do for the label. It's also what the label has to do for the artist, and if you don't put things in there for the label to do for you, then they don't have to do it.
Well, yeah, I've gotten artists out of some tricky situations with the clauses. One situation that I got into the contract where the masters revert back to the artist if the project wasn't released in 9 months. And the label president had no idea I got that put into the contract. And
Hey.
in the 10th month, we went back up there and, I had to tell him. And the guy was a mentor to me for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
But I studied myself on the stuff he wasn't trying to teach me.
Oh
So,
yeah, you got to be careful
yeah.
sometimes. Like people teaching you things and not teaching you everything.
Well,
and
yeah. And here's the hard part, man. The record business was always, we were always dealing in almost a pennies business. Like the profit margin to go around was almost so low that these labels didn't want to deal with you unless they could cheat you out of some more of those pennies
Mhm.
because there were so few of them to go around. So man, don't get me started talking about that. We'll get
Well, I was thinking like, if I'm a young artist, and I there's this like I was thinking about how you just talking about like the late 70s and like early hip hop and just going back, like there's this lore that still kind of exists, this idea that like, oh, we're going to get signed. We're going to get signed. I'm trying to get, that's like a, I don't know what you call that. A false promise, maybe, you know what I mean? Cause there are all these things. And like you said, that the margins are so slim. I mean, when is it right for somebody to engage with the label? Yet maybe if the contract's right, if it's advantageous and then both parties agree on the things, but is that always the right way to go? If
No,
those things are in line.
I think here it is. We have too many artists that are here to be famous more so than spread art.
Boom. Boom.
when all you caring about is the money, the art suffers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so I couldn't agree with that more, man. Couldn't agree with that more. And that goes, and if we look at it like being a musician, being an artist, I mean, that is a business. And at the end of the day, any business owner or entrepreneur will tell you, if you're chasing the money, that's when you're going to run into problems.
Yeah.
If you do what you love and you make the art, then the money can follow. You stick true to it.
The art gives you the leverage. When you're doing what's popular, you're at the consumer's, beck and call. Because once that ain't popular anymore, the consumer done left you. That's why I always encourage artists to be as creative, as different as they can. Because you need to stand out. Nowadays I get so much music and all of it sounds like the same damn song.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's challenging. We've been using the same drums for, it's just, and I think you have the chance of having more staying power when you have your own original sound. It goes with you, and that's what I preach.
Yeah. I like that.
Amazing advice.
And I think also, like, artists think like to have a successful career, they need to, get millions of fans and like all this stuff. When in reality, I mean, I've thought about this before, like whether you're a business or artist, if you can get 1,000 people to pay you $100 a year, that's $100,000.
I've used that for about 10 years now, sir.
Yeah.
And you are exactly right. Okay, let me ask you this, Max. How do we change that scenario up now that they're not really buying the music?
Yeah.
Merch is real important. Merch is so important because it has to take up and make up for those record sales. That CD that's not getting bought now, that cassette, that vinyl that's not getting bought. So you're exactly right. The thing about business, you want to make more than you spend. And it's really that simple. Like, you don't need a $10,000 recording budget anymore. I mean, the technology has brought the cost of doing business down in the music industry to the point where I feel like it's almost ruined it. Like, I used to always say Guitar Center ruined the music industry.
Ouch.
Because it put the tools in anybody's hand that had a plant job or could afford $150 a month payment, and it just flooded the industry with so much content that the consumer was not anxious about the music anymore. The consumer only responded to marketing and advertising.
Man, that's so spot on.
It's sad though, because you can't. The days are gone where you can walk up to somebody on the street and say, "Buy my music." They're gonna say, "I'll wait till I hear it on the radio."
Yeah, wait till it pops up.
Yeah,
while I'm streaming, Spotify or whatever. Got to make it into a popular mix on Spotify or something. It'll just show up there.
Yeah.
And I mean, even Spotify and like Spotify playlists are a little bit overhyped, like in the industry. Like, oh, like you get a million hits, like okay, like how many tickets are you about to sell? Like,
Yeah, it's not real
how
revenue.
much music did you, how much
See,
money did you really just make?
see, and that's the key. The key to the music industry right now is understanding the data. You know, you're saying that because you know the data. You know that just that could be a million people around the globe.
Yeah.
It's not gonna bring a sold out show unless this virtual age really kicks in. Because with that virtual age, you selling a ticket to a show and anybody in the world can come.
Yeah, we
I
definitely
wanna.
think that that's like the future for sure too, is like live streaming shows and internet shows. I mean, that's like we're on, with this Grove Sessions was kind of our like dipping our toe into that, and we've been working on just live streaming because that is so dope. Like you have fans, in another world, and they can pay $5 for internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's another question. I was just reading an article the other day. It happened to highlight this. It's like a jam band in like Vermont or New Hampshire. Some never heard of them. And they, when COVID hit, they started live streaming out of this borrowed space. It was somebody's studio or whatever, and they're doing live streaming every single day. They're performing. They basically turned it into a show where the audience kind of like plays bingo or something, or they somehow like request the band to play, this song or that. So it's like it's real interactive, and then you can subscribe to their channel. I don't know if they're on Patreon or one of those kind of channels or whatever, but these guys are doing like multiple performances a week. So they're touring virtually, right? And on top of that, they're doing other shit like, I don't know, like cooking tips with the fucking drummer and stuff like that. It's
Right.
crazy, right? Like,
Right.
but
Right.
it's but they're literally like their tour. What did they say? They made $100,000 in like two weeks, which would have taken them 20 days on the road to earn. And they did it
Yeah.
without leaving
Yeah.
their hometown.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that's like that is a mind shift, right? Like, and
That's
talk
great.
about like personally engaging with your fans. You know what I mean? You talked about the $100 and the, you know what I mean, like that it's like the power of small numbers. Our business coach talks to us about the power of small numbers all the time.
Yeah.
1,000 fans that will spend $100 on your stuff every year. That's amazing, but that's a new way of thinking for people, right? Because we
Yeah.
can't really do big shows right now. We can't really tour right now.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And,
I
you talked about leverage too, and it's like, that's where the leverage is. Like you get 1,000 people to pay you $100 in 1 year. Like that's some leverage right there. You
yeah.
make $100,000 in 2 weeks streaming online. That's some leverage, so.
Right. You're not caring about a deal at that point. You know what I'm saying? You
No.
you you can't. You just keep feeding your tribe. Keep
Mhm.
feeding your tribe.
Yeah.
I will say I'm not looking forward to this virtual stuff, man. I guess I'll have to say it was a blessing to come up in the era that we did of live shows and concerts and all that stuff, because I just cannot imagine. I don't want to, but I see it. I see it coming, and that is sad for me personally.
Yeah. I mean,
Hopefully, like live shows will come back though. Like, I mean, Live Nation being, the biggest company in the music industry or whatever, I'm sure they're not gonna let it go anywhere.
Right.
I mean, I think for the time being, and you tell me what you think about this. But it seems like there are some creative ways that we can still do live shows. They just going to look different. We've been on our team. We've been talking a lot about the idea of these like drive-in concerts where you can have 200-300 cars in a in a parking lot or a field where people can at least socially distance and you can still have live music.
bro.
It's not the same as a club. It's not the
No,
same
not
as
even
being.
this. No, not even that. It's not
It's
the
a
same as
start
a
though, right?
club. But do you honestly think those people in a field not gonna get out their cars and
Oh
social
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no,
distancing
no.
going all the way out the
Here's what they're
window?
here's what they're doing though. They're spacing out the cars, and so like you get out of your car and you have a whole space like that, so you could get in a van with 6 people that you live with and hang out there. It's less social, but it's something, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
something.
I mean, hey, man, the way I look at it, kids born in the next 5 years, that's going to be all they know. And it's going to ride off into the future, and
I
we'll
hope.
just be the old folks talking about, I remember I was drinking a beer next to Max at the show getting fried.
I hope you're wrong about the 5 year part though, man.
Right, yeah, me too.
Can't handle this for 5 years.
Right,
I do want to go to a show. Like I'm hoping
right.
like under
Well,
two maybe.
there's no arguing that things are different now, in the music world, in the business world. What are some innovations that you're seeing, Uncle P, that really that you like to see or that you think are working, or are there any innovations, that you think people should be doing to move into this new era of music?
I always thought direct fan engagement was first and foremost, um, because that's what technology has allowed us to do, is to take out so many middlemen and all that stuff. So anytime I'm seeing things where artists are able to interact more with their fans, it 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 irks me to see the artists that just sit up at the top of the mountain, look down on their fans like they're all beneath them. I look at them up there and I'm like, man, how long do you think you're gonna stay there with that type of thought process of it? But I guess when you great, you great. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I
Um,
like that, and definitely like because I've had personal experience reaching out to fans personally and like messaging them, not like not necessarily asking them for anything hard or any money, not saying hey stream this thing or whatever, but like just I've definitely had success personally reaching out to people, and just talking to people, and I think that's huge. I think artists like think it like lowers them as an artist to like reach out and talk to their fans, like, and I've definitely noticed, whether with Grove Studios or myself as an artist, like the people that we reach out to and communicate with are the people that continue to support us on
well,
social media.
that's how you get to that 100 people, that 1,000 people for $100. Like you realistically could touch 1,000 people through this device if you just put the time in. But see, the problem is you got too many people in doing this that don't love what they're doing. When you don't love this, you don't want to interact with people about it. It's just a facade. And of course, if it's a facade, what you want to be conversating with people about it? It'll bug the hell out of you. So, I just hope that it just gets us back more to the creatives, to the people that really love to do this. Like, suck the money out of this shit. You know,
Yeah.
the money's going to be there. You know, I just think it just needs to be a balance of some
It's
stuff.
just so hard, I think, for artists too, like just coming up, especially like hip hop, where it's like there's this one specific sound that is super popular, whether it's the Atlanta sound or now the Detroit sound, and they just see it working and they see other artists blowing up because they're using it. They're like, oh, well, I guess I have to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's I don't know how to I mean, and sometimes it does work, you know what I mean? But I like how you say like the longevity comes from creating something new. Like, for example, like Sada Baby, like, yeah, Sada Baby has like a Detroit sound or whatever, but he came with the new sound, and he came with a skill level that was like up here, and everyone was like, holy shit. And now he's one of the biggest artists, you know.
And here's the thing about Sada. This is what I love about Sada. He had fun with the music again.
Mm-hmm.
Like so many of the Detroit street artists, man, you wonder if they've ever smiled in their entire life, dude. Like Sada had fun. Sada made a party
Mm-hmm.
of Detroit stuff. You know, everything, I'll kill you, I'll do this to your baby mama and all this stuff. And it's like, whoa, dude, I got kids. My mom's over there. Like, bro, let's have fun. I mean, when the last time you seen a street guy getting his groove on like that?
Yeah.
Like, I love Sada because he brought fun, you know, back to some Detroit stuff, man. So
Entertainment. Yeah.
yeah,
True
man.
entertainment.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and don't nothing say soft to me.
Oh, and the thing is like, the reason why I think it works so good is because his music is so hard, it's so believable, but then at the same time he's like dancing and being goofy. So you have like
Right.
both ends of the spectrum, and it's like it's
Exactly.
almost a shock to hear someone saying those things, but then like be so likable and goofy.
Right. Man, it's dope, man. That's art, bro. That's art.
Yeah, but also he's another example of just being careful of who you sign to, and being careful of their intentions and everything. Obviously, he got big from signing to T Grizzly, but there were some issues there, so you always
it's always issues with an artist signing to another artist. Like that's something that I really don't recommend. I just think it's gonna hard for you to grow out of the shadow of that major artist.
Listen up, kids. Pay attention.
Like real quick, give me the best example of an artist that was signed that outshined the master. I won't say outshined the master, but 50 did good.
Oh,
being signed by Eminem. But how many examples?
Yeah. There's not many examples. I mean, if you consider Birdman like a rapper,
Right.
Lil Wayne and NBA YoungBoy,
right.
But I mean, and Sada Baby, I mean, I don't think Sada Baby's bigger. He's not bigger than T Grizzly, but I think in a way, he's kind of outshined him, in the industry. I think a lot of people love T Grizzly in the industry, but like the attraction to Sada Baby, like from everyone in the industry and everyone like that I've talked to and heard, it's just, man, they love him, and I think that's definitely a success story, I think, but yeah, it's almost impossible, I think, and also that other artist is always, they're looking out for themselves. To a certain
it is, and that's what you're stuck behind, and they may mean well. We look at Eminem was larger than life at the time, so 50 could nail his own path for everything, but it was kind of hard for D12 and the rest of everybody else to come out of that shadow like that.
Oh yeah.
And then 50, I mean, that was the smartest choice in the world for M and Paul, when they grabbed 50, because he was gonna pop. He was gonna pop.
Yeah. And I mean, he's someone that
ticket.
Yeah, and he's someone that really, like, I mean, he was making like that mainstream rap, but he was like, he had that new style, like that new image. Like, this dude is buff, like he's working out in his videos, like he's just dope, and I think, and Eminem was so big that 50 could still be below Eminem, but be, a worldwide international artist.
Global. Exactly.
Yeah, that's dope.
So that's like super. I mean, that's really specific stuff, as it relates to the industry. But what do you like? If people are, and some people are watching, they're probably looking for insights and that kind of thing. I mean, what do you think should people be paying attention to right now? Artists should be paying attention to right now, and music business professionals. I mean, it's a weird time, right? Because we've got all this, you know, the COVID thing going on, right? Like it makes the music business challenging, but like we're all kind of everybody's hunkered down to some degree. I mean, we're going places now because we're not under a lockdown order or anything. People are making music. I Last month was one of our best months ever at Grove Studios. I was blown away, but I couldn't believe it. I thought for sure when I was doing financial projections, I you know, I did real like conservative projections. I was like, there's no way people are not coming back. And people did. I mean, we put a lot of safety procedures into place, right? And we're sterilizing the shit out of the studios. Every time somebody comes in, we're in there, we're wiping things down, microphone, sanitizer, like we're a little bit OCD about it, right?
You
But
gotta,
That's
it's got to
good.
be, right?
Right. That's
You know,
good.
and we people walk in the studio, we're like, hey man, mask up. You know, everybody's got to wear their mask in the hallway, and then they get to their private room and they can go. But like, so this is all uncertain times. But have you been thinking about like what should be what should people be focusing on in music professionals and artists? What do you think?
I guess I'll go back to consumer engagement.
Mhm.
Um, that's what it's all about for me, the engagement with the consumer, and how to accomplish that in creative ways. Like everybody should be stepping their professionalism up, you know. During this downtime, shoot, all this unemployment money running around, you should be up in your game. And I don't mean your wardrobe. I mean, marketing, getting in front of people. That's what you should be thinking about. You should be creating content, understanding who your content is for, finding out where those people are, and on all on assault on where they're at. And that's just it, man. Keep creating. I know I've been hearing a lot of people say they're not dropping music because they can't perform right now. Um, and I think that is an opening for a lot of independent artists to get in
Yeah.
there and change the scope, change the landscape again. Like somebody could come in here with a wild sound, and just eat it up, because a lot of the mainstays are silent, and they're silent because they're being greedy.
Yeah. Yep. And
You know,
I mean, you talk about marketing, advertising, like I bet you there's less people right now advertising and marketing their music on social media, So and that's kind of a sliding scale about how expensive it is. So it's a good time, to maybe you can get some more reach for some less dollars at this point than a few months ago or something like that.
I will say another thing that I think would be important to be doing right now, and that's collaborations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because right now, word of mouth is extremely important. Right now, everybody has time to listen to word of mouth and see what it's about. I ain't doing that. Max just said something about some show. Let me see what this show about. We're open to that kind of stuff. So when you have collaborations, that's when you have both fan bases or both entities coming together for another conversation to be had. Um, I'm starting a podcast network. I am a podcast
Oh, yeah.
producer as well. I just went to a Podfest in Orlando just before the country locked down. And it was some great things being shared there. But I mean, they said it, the biggest discovery method for a podcast is guests, getting the word out, bringing attention back. So, you know, you see something working in some other industry, figure out a way to
Yeah.
apply that to what you're doing. Like so often, I've learned so much from just looking at stuff in other industries and saying, okay, how can I apply this? How does it apply?
Yeah,
You know?
I love that
absolutely.
you mentioned that because personally over this past year I've gotten a lot into like comedy. Like I've always been a comedy fan.
Okay.
You know, but I've gotten into like really into stand-up comedy this past year and just started listening to all their podcasts, you know. And I just realized, I was like, holy cow, like all of these comedians were not successful for so long, and then they make these podcasts, and 5-10 years later they're selling out theaters all across the country.
Yes.
And I don't think musicians have discovered the power of podcasting yet. I also think like comedians, oh, you can just like be funny and there's your podcast for
Well,
music.
you know what, Max? A lot of these artists will have a hard time having a podcast because they're so damn shallow.
Ouch.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, what are they gonna podcast about, bro?
Yeah.
And it kind of it gives the people a glimpse behind the facade, maybe.
but let's think about what I said earlier. And when you start your own movement and your own sound, you have your own ecosystem to talk about within your podcast. Does ICP have a podcast?
I'm not sure, but they should.
Do they?
If they don't, I mean,
they probably should, right?
Yeah.
No, I love that. Yeah, because you can, and that's like the power of branding, I think, and just really knowing yourself and knowing like, okay, what are my passions and what do I like and how can I, maybe put that into my music and bring people that also like that closer to me and have them enjoy my stuff.
Yeah. I think right now is a good time for artists to take chances on new music. Dabble with some other genres, blend some stuff, why not? If it don't work, it don't work. Yeah, if it don't work, it don't work.
Yeah, and I've noticed these hit records, man, the ones that are, on the top, it is a blend. It's always a mix. It's always a mix. There's like some reggae, some hip hop, some pop, some rock. Like guitar hip hop songs are huge right now,
It's global, man. It's global. You gotta think global. If you don't, you're gonna stay local.
Yeah. I love that, and I mean, even with the success of like Detroit hip hop right now, has gone global. It's it's basically it's mainstream, and but there are still so many amazing artists that still have not broken through, like in the Detroit area and in Michigan in general. There's so much talent, so much. What do you have any advice for artists besides, obviously, what we've already talked about, building your own, fan base and communicating with them? Any other advice, for people looking to try and break out of their local scene in the next few years,
Well, I mean, one of the biggest things we know is taking off the table, and that's hitting the road. Right now it's all about building relationships. We're all locked in, everybody's looking for opportunity. So make sure whatever you're doing has some value that people need or could use. And then it's the barter. Like if I come to you, Max, and I say, Max, I have this artist, the last 4 lives we did, 5,000 of his fans jumped on that boy. I think it'd be a great look because I know you guys are doing a whole lot. So let's blend these fan bases, but you got to start having these conversations. Everybody is waiting for somebody to come knock on their door.
Oh, and it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. You know why? Because you got too many hungry mugs like, let me in this mug.
Yeah. And let me tell you too, like, I mean, I've been around like a lot of people that are powerful in the industry that could have, changed my life with deals or with, introductions. And I've gotten, I was getting millions of views at the time too, and still people, are looking the other way. Great job, and you have to have so much to have that leverage, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like no one's just going to, they got to see that money, or else it's like they're, or those ticket sales or something, because, it's, no one's just going to be like, oh yeah, like you're amazing, let's do this. And if they
Yeah.
do, they might. And if they do, if they blow you up, then they're gonna, they're gonna have control. They're gonna have the masters. They're gonna have,
Yeah.
whatever.
But I think
But
it still goes back to, I feel like what you're saying earlier, and I feel like there's this thread that started when we first started talking, is this, it's about people.
yes.
It's about relationships, it's about collaboration. It's all the shit you learned in kindergarten,
Yeah.
essentially.
Right. Right.
Right? Like be nice to your friends, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Don't, do unto others as you'd have them do it, that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
if you follow that path, and and then you have, and then you're willing to work for it, right? Work hard, do those things, then you can find these little successes, right?
Yeah, definitely. Max, one thing I wanted to add, if you are an artist and you don't have your merch game together, you are seriously slipping.
Boom.
Um, People need a shirt to wear. I don't need your music.
Yeah.
You know, your merch is a very big revenue stream for your artistry. And when you're making your merch, please think a little bit about your consumer base, your fan base. Make sure that you're making things that they're going to be proud of wearing. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I think
um,
that's huge.
yeah, it is. I see a lot of garbage merch.
Yeah, it's
You
like that
know,
shirt you're wearing right now is dope,
Yeah,
and
it's a
right,
sweet design.
so you're
right.
rocking it.
Yeah, and it's easy. Think of something that people will want to put on, wear, showcase, whatever it may be. But if you not handling your merch,
We could
yeah,
do a whole show on just that alone,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like what does it mean to have good merch? What does it mean to make appealing merch? What kind of merch is interesting to people, right? And it's different for, depend on who your
yeah,
audience is, right?
yeah.
Of
Who your
course. Like you keep
audience?
saying, it's your audience, right? Pay attention to what the consumer is going to be interested in.
I'm real big on
Huge.
tribes. Find your tribe, build your
I like
tribe,
that.
and
Yeah.
feed your tribe. A
Mhm.
lot of times people get a tribe together and then you're not feeding them. You gotta keep them fed, or they're gonna go to the next artist to eat.
No
Yeah.
doubt. Sage advice,
Definitely
man.
have. I ran into, I mean, that situation, man. It's just like I was getting all these views on Facebook and everything, and it was hard for me to keep up with the content because I was also in school and then doing my master's degree and all this stuff, and also just the money of recording good quality music as opposed to recording it at your house, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but it definitely shows that, like, I definitely learned that because I did a lot of promotion, but it was hard for me to keep the momentum going because, like, I didn't have stuff lined up back to back to back. I was just like flying by the seat of my pants. So I think keeping them fed and making sure, like, okay, I got content, like planning out content, um, can help a lot. You're absolutely right. If you're not, but that's why podcasts are so helpful. It's new material every single week that people can listen to.
yeah. Definitely, definitely.
And
I think it's the future.
and and I want to like segue just a little bit, just based on what you guys are talking about. But like, we're talking about, the ability, even going a little bit back to the Guitar Center thing, where people could just, like, anybody could get the gear. They could kind of, you know what I mean? Like, you can get equipment in your house, but, working in certain studios, I mean, there's a certain mojo that happens in studios, right? We all know that, right? And some of that is the collaboration. It's the house engineer, it's the lead engineer, it's the people that you might be working with. It might be the vibe of the room. I mean, there's a lot that goes into studio versus recording at home. Can we record at home? Yeah, I got a nice microphone right over there. Not this is just not the best, but like there's other microphones. I can do it, but you know, you opened a studio. You had a studio in Pontiac, is that right?
Yeah, man, I've
And
had several studios.
yeah. I mean, you multiple studio. You're sitting in a studio right now. Um, but like, what are some like key takeaways from the studio life? You know, so right now we're kind of like to some degree stuck in home studios. Maybe if we can access studios, obviously we're open, we're unique because we're not like a typical recording studio. We have these private rooms. Our future of shipping container studios is another thing where those are completely isolated from one another, but they're essentially private rooms. But like that's a different thing. Relies on people individually being their own engineers or having an engineer come in to work with them. But like from a studio standpoint, what are some of the takeaways from owning studios and how does that work right now in COVID times?
Well, I'll start with saying, man, I got out of the studio business because, people didn't care about quality. They just cared about being in the studio.
Boom.
Um,
Yeah.
and back then, a lot of this equipment cost a lot more money, so I was getting tired of people wanting me to bring down my price to the same as somebody that just spent $250 and said you got a studio. Um,
Yeah.
what I can commend you guys on is how you diversified the studio business and made it more than just recording with the different products that you have, like this podcast. Basically, it's the wild wild west out here, man. You know,
That's true.
and you got to do anything you can to get yourself in front of a potential customer. And one of the keys to that is finding the customers that didn't even know they needed you. Like this podcast stuff. I'll be moving to Atlanta soon, and I'll be running a podcast company down there. But the key to it is me. I have a podcast studio, right? And I have a mobile setup as well. And the thing is, I'll be going to clients that didn't know what a podcast could do for their business. Do you have a website? Yes, we do. What kind of content you got on that website? Your own branded podcast would look great on your website. It's about thinking outside of the box because nowadays everybody got damn studios. Now, they ain't
True.
competing with what y'all doing, but the sad thing is they don't care about the quality or you got all this equipment. All they cared is I got this studio session for a blunt and a 40 ounce.
Yeah.
So I think it's very imperative that everybody, whatever you're doing, find as many revenue streams that you can do professionally at a high standard. Because you get people that just start trying to offer services that they have no clue what they're doing, just because they saw somebody else do it. So find your niches, and
We got a lot of loves and a lot of likes on that statement, by the way.
which one?
The very last thing you said.
Oh, okay.
People were like, boom, yeah.
Dang, I wish I could see that. Where are they? No, anyway, but
I was on Facebook, but
okay, but yeah, man, you got to think outside of the box. It's not easy anymore. The competition is thick. What you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, I always joke that like, when people reach out to us all the time and they say, yeah, I got some songs I want to record, they're thinking that we're a typical recording studio, and we're not. We provide a professional space. I mean, we're trying to think outside of the box in that way. I've heard some incredible music that's come out of our studios that's been self-produced, with talented people working in our spaces. But it's like, going back to what you said earlier, like thinking outside of the box. This is our attempt at thinking outside of the box. Coming in to work in our environment is gonna be better than your garage. Is gonna be better than your basement. But some people might not see that. They're like, "Well, I could just do that in my basement." Well, you can. What's it going to sound like? Do you have top of the line, studio monitors to sit down in front of and listen to? Or, do you have the bargain basement monitors? Because that's going to make a difference in the way you hear the music, right?
Yeah, it's one other thing, and I've always said that, and I've saw it to be true. Um, you can really get a studio or facility off the ground with one success story coming out of there. You know,
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah,
all,
I've seen
all,
that too, for
all
sure.
you had, T Grizzly recorded first
Yup.
day out at Grove Studios. Man, you guys would be off the chain, and
Right,
you could
right.
suck. But because of that success, you
Yeah,
guys
That's
would
true.
be off the chain.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
I
our model though is to I've always been really forward about empowering artists. The space in my mind is more of a place of collaboration and co-working, and it's not about Grove Studios getting the credit. If we do, sweet. That would be amazing if we had a T Grizzly story. Like, I'd take that. But T Grizzly and his engineer, whether it was his buddy or whoever that did it, I want them to have the credit. This isn't about me. And I think that's going back to what you say and how you roll. Like it's about putting people on. It's about, what I mean, lifting people up, and that's what brings you success ultimately at this point, right? And I
yes,
think we're
Rick.
about the same age, so maybe that's just age talking. But
Yes,
you know,
Rick. I would definitely agree with you, bro. I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I mean that's a good. I mean, you've always been one to lift up Detroit artists, and with things like Local Love Radio, which we could talk about a little bit. The producer beat battles. You taking the producer beat battles all over the country, and filming it and stuff, and underground hip hop awards. You know.
well, correction. The beat battles I pretty much did in Detroit.
Mhm.
It was the rap
Oh, the
battles,
rap battles went around. That went
which
around.
which most people have anything to do with in that scene. Um, but yeah, I was around in those early days doing some good stuff there. The internet, powerful drug. I had Local Love Radio. This was back in 2000. I think the year they called us, it was 2003. Um, a producer in Cleveland was doing rap battles in Cleveland, and he wanted them to stop having to rap each other and rap some other people. So he found DetroitRap.com on the internet. He contacted me. Hey, you know any battle rappers? Hell yeah, I know the best. Like, what you talking about? So long story short, I thought he was playing. He was like, well, yeah, have some come over. I'll meet you at your house. We're going to come up there. Yeah, all right. So it happened. Um, that ended up being Detroit versus Cleveland. Then Cleveland came to Detroit. Then we did Detroit versus New York. Then we did Detroit versus Houston. And all of these were on DVDs. This was before Smack, those things. So yeah, the battle we did in Houston was during All-Star Weekend when the Pistons was heavily represented
So
down there. Um, Rick Ross was there, Fat Joe, Trina, Jadakiss, MC Light, like it was just crazy. So
It's
I
amazing.
I've taken, battle MCs around the country that's done got checks, paid, travel, per diems, you know. I'm always trying to help push some buttons, man. But
Yeah.
Rick, one thing that I'm realizing, and a lot of my elders is telling me, don't be afraid to, I guess, talk about what you have done, because I've had a lot of people take success stories from me and I've played my little role to help, and nobody will ever mention my name.
Mm-hmm.
Know?
Yeah.
And so many people will call me a unsung hero for Detroit. Well, why am I unsung? Because nobody wants to talk. And that's cool. I'm cool with that. I keep it going. But I only brought that up because that's something that I struggle with sometimes. Giving everybody every single credit and not standing up for myself too. Because what I've learned, especially in this hip hop stuff, people will not stand up for you.
No. And
That's amazing advice.
what has given you the drive to like go so hard for the artists in your city over all these years?
I'm stubborn. No,
we
man.
share a common trait
Yeah,
there, man.
yeah.
Ask my wife too, right?
I'm stubborn. No, man. I love it. I've had a go. I've done everything in this music industry except for tour with a hit record.
Mm-hmm.
And damn it, I'm gonna do that
Oh yeah, it's
one of
coming.
these days. And
Beautiful.
I just want to see good people win. And that's why you always see me, working with some good people. It might not always be the most popular people, but damn it, they talented and they can hold their own with anybody as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and that's
amazing
that's
advice.
dope that you let the music and the talent talk, and um, and I know you've worked a lot with like publishing and stuff like that. What would your advice be like for producers and writers who want to get placements or publishing deals?
Back to relationships. Basically it's about reading and figuring out who music supervisors are. One thing I'm big on is I go to a lot of music conferences. Um, I go to music conferences and publishing conferences and stuff with the mission to meet certain people. Like, I'm not going to get signed. I'm doing this to start a face to face for a relationship that I'm trying to build in the future. I always go, I sit right in the front. I take the tone of the room and I make sure I ask a question that's going to fuck everybody's head up in the room. And I ask it to the person that I wanted to meet. And every time that person has came off that stage and came and talked to me first.
That's awesome.
I think that's amazing strategy, right? Like, and I do want to dig. Is that something that you learned over time, or were you like that kid in seventh grade that was like up in front?
No, I was not that kid in seventh grade. But
I was just curious.
right. I'm determined to get what I need to get.
Yeah.
Which is
And
smart. Hell
and
yeah.
that's why I go to these music conferences with a plan. I know who all the speakers are. I'll do research so I could have a successful elevator conversation with them. And they will wonder, wow, you know who I am? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then, boom, that card come right out. And then I ask, when's the best time to contact you so I don't get lost in all the sauce with all these other people here that's going to contact you? And then that's when I get a personal number.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
an amazing
key.
strategy.
That's something I was taught at Dime is like don't just give your card, try and get their card.
Man, that ego, bro. Like, that's the thing with the artists, man. You have to be hungry. Nobody's giving out plates. You got to take these mugs, man. You got to. It's millions of people vying for that one spot. What's going to make you different?
Yeah, that's amazing advice, right? I feel like there's like these things you say, I want to chop them up and turn it into a class, because I think people's master class makes sense. I mean, you're probably already working on one, I'm guessing.
Actually, I'm writing a book right now. But
Ooh,
That's nice.
Yeah.
Book, podcast.
very cool.
What is like I don't know if you could talk about it, but like what is your podcast about? What's the book about?
The book is called Don't Wait Till You're 50.
God damn, that slaps, dude.
I like
Wow.
that.
Yeah,
I'll be
that's good.
I'll be 50 next year, and there are a lot of things that I waited to do. A lot of it will be wrapped into my music industry experience and the things that I experienced that kept me held back, that intimidated me, or I didn't think I was ready for that opportunity yet. And it's funny, I just now when I turned 48, I felt invincible, so I want to encourage people to follow their dreams, follow it completely. Don't let self-doubt, don't let hate from others get in your way. Um, yeah, I just want to be a motivation to people, bro. It's an extension of what I do musically. Just try and motivate people to be the best they can be and help them out of tough times and see a brighter light.
That's amazing. There's so much wrapped up in that. And one of the things you mentioned earlier, and the fact that you're writing a book, like you talked about uh reading, right? Like,
Yes.
I hear you say things that certainly come from your experience, but I wonder, are there some other things, well, like, that inspired the book, maybe things that you've read that inspired that? Because I love the concept of don't wait till you're 50, right? I'm just a touch younger than you, but
Okay.
50 doesn't feel very far off. And so I can relate to some of those things you're saying, for the same reasons, because everybody has to realize that time is our biggest asset. I feel at my age, I feel quite young, actually.
Okay.
I got some shit happening, but like, I don't feel like vastly different than I did 10 or 15 years ago. On a physical level, I feel pretty good. But time is the asset, right? And you don't realize that when you're a lot younger.
Right.
And you miss these things. I think that's an amazing book. I can't wait till that comes out. When that releases, we're gonna push that hard, because I think everybody needs to hear it from many different angles. And I know that people talk about it in different ways, but I like the way you put it.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Anthony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within.
I had that book when I was like a kid, man. I still have it.
And I was young too. And the funny thing is, at that point, I wanted to be a motivational speaker and a motivational coach.
Yeah.
You are.
And all these years, I haven't. And that's the true thing of I'm saying, don't wait till you're 50. I think I have a gift to listen and then help direct or help digest what was said and give it back to you in a way that might help you break through a brick wall or something like that. I think I have a gift for that, man, and I've only been sharing it with people in the music industry. And I think regular people will enjoy some of my music industry stories, at the same time learn from my journey.
I 100% think that's true.
It should, and I hope it inspires a lot of artists too.
Yeah, that's dope. So besides like the podcast and the book, is there anything else on the horizon for you?
Well, the podcast is my way of I used to want to be Dick Clark too when I was younger. He was one of my idols and my role models. And my podcast is going to be for audio and for video, like YouTube and stuff. But it's the blend with Uncle P.
I
And
like that.
I have really no desire to go back into clubs and DJ, but I'm always gonna want to break records.
DJ podcast.
I always want to expose. So it's going to be somewhat of almost like Carson Daly's Late Show. I'll pick two artists and I'll interview both of them and go between, video and some other things. But it's an artist discovery platform or entertainment discovery platform, because I don't think I'm going to limit it to just artists. People in entertainment. The blend with Uncle P, it could be a bunch of different things as entertaining.
Love it.
Sounds awesome. Definitely let us know. We'll be watching for its release, but we'd love to put it on blast for you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Actually, you guys helped me with the process a little bit today.
Good.
I mean, we've been doing this, like we're this really is a pod, like we're morphing this Grove Sessions into a podcast, and it's just nice doing this and getting the reps in, and
right. Yeah.
For us, it was like it was more reactionary. We had talked about podcasting before loosely, but when we got shut down, we were like, shit, what do we do? Right?
Hey,
like a lot of people were.
Right.
And this was the only thing that made any sense to us. And so if you can go back and look to some of the earlier episodes, we've gotten better at things, but and there are plenty of things we could be doing better. I stumbled along the way about different technologies. How do I live stream to multiple platforms? Blah, 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 blah. There's all this other background stuff that has to happen to make this happen. And believe me, Max wasn't here the other week. I messed everything up. I was playing with video with no audio. People are just watching, you know what I mean? Like it was kind of a disaster, but you learn, right? Cause you put in the reps.
Exactly.
And I think this might be, I have to go back and count, but this might actually be number 40.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
We've been doing like 3 a week, basically since the stuff started. So
and it was grueling at times, but nothing comes from nothing. So hard work is where it's at.
Dope.
Yeah,
I'm a firm believer in hard work. Like if you ain't willing to do hard work, you just want to throw money at something.
That can work very well.
Yeah.
It doesn't go off, and I don't. A lot of times I don't take those type of jobs. I just don't get much from it.
Yeah.
And it's important for me to get something from what I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it sounds like your next move though is you're going down to Atlanta.
I'm going back. Yes.
And you're going to be podcasting.
To Atlanta.
Well, I'm a podcasting business.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll have my podcast, but I'm developing.
You're going to sign other podcasters and stuff?
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. I
cool.
like that.
Atlanta's a cool town. I spent a little time there. You mentioned Miami earlier. That's where I got this hat.
I was wondering. That hat is cool.
I was there a couple years in a row. I like Miami.
Yeah, Miami's nice.
What's that area down there with the all the murals? Oh man. It's a neighborhood in Miami. It's real. There's every building is covered in.
Oh yeah. I
can't think of the name of it off the top of my head.
Wow.
It was cool. Some of the amazing artwork down there. But anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, and Detroit. I mean, Detroit, like the murals in Detroit are.
Yeah, you're seeing it now. People are doing it. Yeah.
Art is coming back.
Oh yeah. Well, we really appreciate you coming on. Like more than anything, we're so honored to be able to talk to you today. There is just one question that we like to ask everybody, because there's just a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, with music and with business. But what do you think is certain, either in the world or in the music industry or anything like that?
You said, what do I think is what?
Certain, like for sure. Because a lot of things are uncertain right now.
Man, that's a big question, bro. Uh, what do I think is certain? It's
Wow.
It's not,
That's an answer.
it's not often I'm speechless, Max, but I work real hard to keep a smile on my face, but I look at social media, and I just see how screwed up we are as a society. I mean,
Mhm.
it's I don't want to bring the vibe of this podcast down, but
No, that's
Bring it
okay.
anywhere you
yeah,
want.
Bring
but
it, bring
dude,
it.
but certainty, man, I just hope love wins
Yeah.
overall. You know, I think people are just so ingrained into who they are that I don't see change in a lot of folks, because they don't have to. Media has gotten so broad, and then with social media, I don't care if you say the sun is green. You can go on the internet and probably find 100 people that agree with you that the sun is green. So what does that
Mhm.
mean? You can go into your silo with your green sun people and stay there and feel like you have a community to bond with. So then
Yeah.
it makes y'all against the world. And we
Mhm.
Yeah.
got millions of silos with all these different ideologies, and it's cool, but we forgot about caring for each other.
Mhm.
You
That's a
know,
great analogy, man.
it,
I can appreciate that. And you don't bring the vibe down at all. I think, you know, I like talking about those things too because I think that's important to talk about. Breaking down the silos, and it's interesting because we've had a lot of guests say love is one of the most important things, and it's going back to people, and it's sharing stories, it's listening, and it's understanding and trying to empathize. Empathy to me, and I think you'll agree, that's one of the most important things that anybody can have, and I feel like there's a lack of that right now for
oh
the most part.
man, it's
People forgot that word, what empathy means.
it's disappeared from the globe. It's
It's hard to change that, but I think
it,
we can do it.
One
it's hard
person
to
at a
change that
time.
one person at a time. And the thing about it is, we have to be louder than the naysayers.
Yeah.
And that's the
100%.
thing. Like us, we don't speak up. We sit there and watch and we shake our heads. And unfortunately, now the point where we got to meet this adversity where it is, and we have to speak up. We can't just keep watching.
Yeah.
I'm
Love
with you
it.
on that.
Appreciate it. Thank you so
Yeah, man.
much, for
Yeah.
coming
Hey,
on.
Those are
check it
words to
out.
live by.
If you guys ever have any panel discussions for music, business, any of that stuff, please feel free to holler at your boy.
We appreciate
I
that.
love this kind of stuff. I love networking, love sharing knowledge with people. Hey,
Yeah, we're actually working on a way to give artists access to information for a very low cost, so we'll reach out to you, and we'd love to
Yeah,
get you
we
involved in that.
appreciate that. Like you, I love the same thing. I love sharing, collaborating, learning from people in different parts of the industry, just other people in general. You know
right,
what I mean? Like
right.
people that have different life experiences. I definitely think that there's going to be some paths for us to work together. You mentioned panels. There's a specific opportunity that I have in mind, so we'll touch base offline about that. But um, I definitely look forward to it, and I look forward to all the great things that I'm going to see coming out of your world really soon. Sounds like you have some more amazing stuff happening. And you got that, that 50-year goal. Like you, my plan is to go on a world tour by the time I'm 50. So I got a little bit of time left. We're going to do that.
All right. Thank you.
Let's
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
So much.
I appreciate y'all. God bless, man. Y'all stay safe. Stay Rona free.
Same to you. Everybody, thanks for joining Grove Sessions. Uncle P, entrepreneur, general, all around amazing music man, and very true person to the world. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great night.
Peace.